Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Untitled Reviews. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are dramas. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about The Bear, Season 3, Episode 3. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Well, the opening of this episode follows, they're at Marcus's mom's funeral, and obviously a lot of people have gathered, including a lot of the characters we've come to know. Obviously Chester's there along with Ted, and Marcus is speaking about his mom, and it's very beautiful in the way he talks about his mom, about who she was, how smart she was, how much she loved flowers, and obviously he talks about always being loved. And I love that conversation, especially how the camera shifts over to because I'm sure because it kind of pans over because we're talking about his mom, and then you kind of get some looks from the situation with, you get a look from Carmen and you get a look from Nat, which is we know their mom's situation, so I'm sure that puts a lot of stuff in their head about things with their mom, but even when Marcus is like, I don't know what it's like to be a parent. And I think the camera has shifted over to Richie at that moment when he was talking in that capacity. But he's like, I know what it's like to be a kid, to be someone's kid, because he was talking about his mom. He always felt love. He never felt like that was absent in his life. And he talked about the fact is that even though his mom couldn't speak, he knew that when he was talking to her that she was listening. And it's for him, it's that actually, he feels made their communication better, because it's in that moment it felt like we actually had to listen to each other, So it was obviously a really beautiful eulogy of sorts, or I think that would count as a eulogy, but what Marcus said was beautiful. And then we get right into it. The whole kitchen. This is our first time this season back in the kitchen, because obviously everything up till now had been, like I said, picking up the pieces in the aftermath of the season 2 finale, and now just kind of, obviously last episode was a lot of setup of what we're going to do with the restaurant going forward, especially Carmen with his legitimately crazy idea, we're changing the menu every day, but based on what Sugar says, it's not like that's a new idea. It seems like plenty of restaurants do that and somehow make it work. That seems wild to me. Obviously having seasonal menus, perfectly fine, but it's the practicality versus the artistry of it that come clashing together. And I guess some people found that ebb and flow to make that work. I don't think The Bear is there, and I don't know if they will be there. Once again, only 3 episodes into this 10-episode season, so who knows how this is all going to play out ultimately. But we see this what could have been, which seemed like, hey, issues aside, was a decent enough, well-oiled machine in the season 2 finale. But now we're rolling things out, especially under the mandates or non-negotiables that Carmen has, specifically the whole aspect of changing the menu every day. And it's just kind of God, I always forget the name for everyone that works up front. Was it I forgot the term for that, like Richie and all of them and the servers who are up front versus everyone in the kitchen, out front versus the kitchen, or just label it as that. That also leads to that clashing of, it's stuff isn't kind of getting out fast enough because it needs to be perfect, but it's you need to be perfect on the first time rather than having to refire stuff, because Carmen's under the pressure, nothing goes out unless it's perfect. And you could tell the person that's probably taking the biggest toll on, you can see, is Tina, because she's trying her best and she's kind of getting stressed, and you can tell it's taking its toll on her. But luckily, Carmen's there, but he's not making things better for T. In fact, it's taking Sydney being it's okay, calm down, you'll get this, chef, just kind of make sure you get it right the first, she knows, because Sid knows to step in, because she's if Carmen's here, he's just going to make it worse. So Sydney's still in that juggling act where she's balancing and stuck in the middle of Richie and Carmen, while she also has to be in between Carmen and everyone else, because she has to be the one to kind of calm him down. She even says a line later on, yo, I need you to calm down. No, you need to calm down. I'm not your fucking babysitter. And he kind of recognizes shit. It's just, she has to not placate him, but she has to be that middle ground, that buffer to kind of keep everyone going, keep everyone pushing while kind of doing what he wants. And it's just too much. The fact of the matter is, the washers, they're overstacked, getting their fingers cut like because of glass. Like you saw the dishes stacking up. It is insane. And then like the orders were like backing up. It felt a little bit like Systems, not Systems. What's it called? The Review, episode 7, the like one that was like a one shot from season 1. It kind of felt a little like that with the pre-order thing. It almost felt like that. Not as bad, but it is teetering in that territory. Richie ended up coming up with his own non-negotiables that he's trying to say, like, right, we need a little more joy in all of this. It's like, I see what you're trying to do, and I agree with some of what you're trying to do, but there's other aspects we need to kind of work on, you know, but, like, Carmen's not really listening to a lot of his non-negotiables, which the little we were hearing seemed reasonable enough, but it's also like Carmen's setting his ways on how things are going to be operated, and he's kind of not allowing any wiggle room. And he kind of, that was also Richie's point, like, right, let there be a, you know, we can discuss this, like, let's leave room for other people to be creative and stuff like that. This is kind of his vision, and that's what we're kind of pushing for, and there's kind of no room for it, you know, and that's what everyone, once again, everyone's butting up again up against what Carmen wants, because we had, like I said, Sid having to play middle barrier between Carmen and everyone. Richie, like, feeling like how things are running out front isn't copacetic with what the kitchen, or like how Carmen wants to operate things. Then there's also Nat having to deal with the cost of everything, especially because she's got Cicero breathing down her neck, which he recognizes, like, I get it, this is a CP situation, but it's on you because you're the one kind of managing the money operation, like you're the manager of this whole situation. But it's like they're not making enough money to compensate what Carmen wants the kitchen to be. The fact is they're changing the menus all the time. They're getting more and more expensive ingredients, and then even Nat calls Carmen out for it, being like, yo, like, it's wasteful to get these high-priced ingredients just for you to use them once. Because, once again, they're changing the menu all the time. So it's just like, they can't keep up because they're not making enough money. It's like, yeah, we're making some money, but as Jimmy puts it, it's literally going out the window. Then also later on, you know, you have Richie who's trying to put some more joy into this restaurant. So he's got some surprises that he has set up and stuff. But, like, that's cutting into more money, which Jimmy's not. Understandable, he's a partner. He's trying to make back his investment in this. So it's like, I'm not seeing the returns I'm hoping for. So you kind of, like I said, you kind of got Jimmy mainly breathing down Nat's neck. It's not as much on Carmi. It's more on Nat. Like I said, she is the money person. But then, like, she has Carmen telling her to, like, fix it, like, figure it out. And she's like, figure it out? No, this is you. How about you do your part in figuring it out, considering you are the biggest reason why we're not making enough money. We're, like, they're trying to get more people in, and it's not enough. And just like I said, it's the whole flow of things, it's not conducive. And it's just, once again, Carmen not dealing with anything. Then, like, later in the episode, he's like, I need hands, and he's just thinking about so much, and especially the Claire of it all. It's like you don't have a clear enough head. You're so busy trying to keep going that you haven't taken a chance to breathe, which is something people constantly tell Carmen to do. It's like, you're not right for this. Like, maybe under better circumstances, under different circumstances. It's just the thing of Carmen is built for this, but at other times, it's like, I don't think you are. Like, you are just so busy burying everything. You're not properly dealing with everything, even though you told Marcus last episode, yo, deal with it. But it's like, once again, it's easier. We can always give the best of advice to other people, but can never take it ourselves. And it's like, he's not dealing with things, and he's just so busy, like I said, trying to swing the pendulum the other way, that it's like, right, he's not screaming as much, and it's not as venomous, but it's still a thing of, yeah, you at the helm is just not cutting it. And you can tell, he can tell in those moments, because there's that moment where Sid was fixing things and he was just staring at her, and it's just, I think it's a thing of, like, right, I see what you're doing, chef, but it's not as effective. But you know, Carmen doing things your way is not as effective either. So it's just this constant tug and pull on everything. I mean, once again, him and Richie, like, that's already, like, that hasn't been properly resolved, but they kind of come to a head and stuff like that, because there was some situation, I don't remember what it was, that, like, popped that whole situation off, but, like, they ended up dropping a whole bunch of stuff, like Sid's, I think, like, the receipts and stuff of, like, the orders, and, like, Richie just, like, gets taken out by Marcus being like, yo, like, you're good, and as he's being taken out, Richie does apologize. He's like, I'm Sid, I'm sorry. And that's the thing too, I didn't even talk about last episode. him and Carmen have always had like their back and forth. Sometimes, like I said, I don't think it's ever been this bad because they're just building off of just that season 2 finale. But even him and Sid are in a good place that he's trying so hard to be respectful for Sid, considering like that was him and Sid previously, because him and Sid like had a dynamic of like, right, we don't really know each other that well, and we call each other out and like say some foul shit, but like it's a similar dynamic he now has with Carmen, which once again, it was already there. There was animosity since he took over the beef and stuff like that, but it's just like it feels like it leans more towards like they don't know each other anymore after everything. Like after everything was said and done, of like, oh, you said what you said, you meant it, and Carmen's trying to say he didn't, but it's like, and he's like, yeah, I apologize. It's like, yeah, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, like after all that you've said and all that you've done, like you're in a situation where you might have to just keep apologizing. There is no stopping, just keep apologizing over and over again. But for him, it's like everything, like it's a waste of time, it's a waste of my time, and it's just not saying necessarily apologizing, but maybe that's it, because he feels like Richie's not really accepting his apology, so he's like, what's the point of keeping apologizing beyond that? So it's just, I mean, to be fair, up until this show, they've always kind of been like hey, I'm sorry, and then they just kind of, once again, keep it moving, keep it pushing, just like now. I mean, that even goes in line with what Marcus was saying at the beginning, like that was always his mom. You know, it's just like she kept it moving, kept it pushing, even when she was kind of like parenting as a single parent, you know, whatever Marcus's circumstances are, whether it's like his dad just wasn't in the picture or whether his dad died when he was young or younger, you know. So that situation with Fack was so interesting, like when he was supposed to take the plate out and it's like, no, I got this, and like Carmen told him exactly what to do. He did it, but the problem is he poured the thing and then he took the tray, like he took everything back with him, and Carmen's like, what are you doing? He's like, yeah, you told me to pour it in front of him. It's like, Fact, you're supposed to leave the plate behind. And then Richie came. He's like, hey, I know. He's like, don't do that. He's like, no, you said I was ready. I know what I said did, but this is right now. Like, both things can be true. And it's just like, Fact kind of screwed up. We even see at one point, he's like pouring stuff down. He's like, oh yeah, Carmen went to this and that. Have you ever been to Copenhagen? And it's like he's overflowing someone's cup, or he's missing the cup or something like that. It's like, this whole thing is a shit show. There's the group that was at the table. It's like, yeah, we need to kind of get them moving. And it's like, so Richie was like, yo, let's take him to a tour of the kitchen, while like Carmen and Sid are in the middle of about to like kind of have an argument or something. It's like, oh, let's stop while the customers are right in front of us. So it's just, it's a lot. Plus, like, they're obviously going to be at work a lot longer too. Everyone's stressed. Everyone's tired because it's a lot. It's too much. Because even to the point, like, Tina was like, do we have to do this every night? Like, they're doing like, it's not like a overall clean. It's like they do a deep cleaning, which, looking at the state of the place, it makes sense why they would have to do a deep cleaning. But I think that's also just because day after day after day after day just finally started wearing them down, so the place became more and more of a mess. Because it's like, I don't know how. I mean, they are like supposed to be like a higher class, like freaking, restaurant now and stuff, and the articles being written about the bear. So it's a lot. I mean, hell, we even see Ibra struggling to keep up with like the to-go orders, because that's a whole thing. Like, yeah, you want to sit down and have the fancy stuff. You want the more beef sandwich and stuff like that. It's like, yo, you got to go to to-go, which he's struggling to keep that up. And it's like, yo, John H., where the hell is John H.? I hope he legitimately didn't serve what he dropped on the ground and put like in a basket. I was like, please tell me you tossed that. Please don't tell me you actually served that to somebody. You might have. It's just like, ugh. Like, I brought it up previously, like the calmness of like, yeah, there's a little chaos because of last episode, but there was a quietness to it, and it's just the yelling and arguing type of situation, but there was a quietness to it, and there was a quietness to the first episode because there was very little like in comparison to what typically is dialogue in the show, there was less dialogue. It was very like atmospheric and setting the tone and feel and vibe, and it's like, yeah, there's kind of like, okay, the craziness of the kitchen, but once again, even then, they were like, the Terry stuff was quiet stuff, and even while he's like training with like other chefs, like, it's still, there's quietness to it despite everything. And this episode kind of threw you back into the chaos that it feels like the chaos isn't as loud, but it's just as palpable, and it's just still as stressful and still just as nerve-wracking. You're just like, oh god, it's stressing me out, this kitchen situation, because like I said, it's the artistry versus like the practicality of it, where I'm like, I brought it up earlier. I'm just like, I feel like Carmen's going about this the wrong way. But like once again, no one can tell him otherwise because he won't listen to anybody and he's being stubborn about it. And I think there has to be a different approach to this. And it's like you're so far up your own ass because you're so busy kind of running away and not dealing with shit properly. Like I said, you are because doubling down and keeping his head down into the grind of it and trying to get better and better has led to him getting better and better and being the best at what he's done. And it kind of, but that's not conducive with being happy and fun. But it's like, once again, Carmen made it clear he's not like, this isn't fun to him. Like, it's like, yeah, it's what sometimes he doesn't even know if he likes it or loves it, but it's kind of like, this is what I do. It's in me. I can't break free of it. He has such a complicated relationship with it because his love for this is connected with like the loss of Mikey and just, it's like, right, like him and Mikey's relationship made him better at this. So there's such a toxic like connection between what this meant to him. And like his strive to be better and better was just to show Mikey, like, okay, you won't let me work at the family place, you won't let me work at the beef, fine, fuck you, fuck that, I'll prove you. And it's just like it starts from there. So it's like, of course, there's not going to be fun in this, and especially at a time where like he is now, rather than processing things properly and dealing with them, he's just keeping his head down because he thinks that's what's best for him. He's kind of going very robotic because it's like, I'm trying to remove all emotion from, like I let my heart get the best of me last season. Like I said, he's trying so hard to overcompensate for the missteps of last season. It's like, right, I tried to be human, like fuck that, gotta go full robot. That's the only way I'm gonna make this through. We're gonna be the best. I'm gonna push and push and push, and it's just, you burn people out. You're gonna lose people that way. And he's not thinking clearly in that moment because it's like, right, like, should like our other kitchens run like that? Maybe so, and maybe they can make that work. But like I said, I just don't think, maybe you insert a different chef in this place and the place could make that happen. Carmi's not the person who can make that happen. At least Carmi, the way he is now, he's just built differently, both just built upon childhood trauma of just his family circumstance, familial trauma, and just everything he's not dealing with. It's just compounding, and it's just too much. So that's what this episode left me with. It just kind of, the moment the credits hit, that's all I just like, bleh, I feel like I could breathe again. So it's going to be interesting to see where all of this takes us going forward in the aftermath of this episode, what the next episode has in store for us. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.